Wally, it's time to work on the worms. Guys, I'm here. Wally's here. Eating his brother's food probably, but we're here. We're going to check on the worms. Wally's going to guard the neighborhood for us. And got a lot to do today. We have been almost exactly 1 month since we started the starving on tier 1, so we really need to check on that, see how they're doing. And then we kind of gave a big feeding last week, and I did the math, and it's been about 9 days. I purposely left them a little bit longer just to see how they are progressing with the amount of food that they were given. So I have more food ready. I have some avocado shells ready for baiting, some grit, and a lot of shredded paper ready to go. So let's figure out what we need. You ready to check on the worms, Wally? All right, let's put some worms down for Wally to check on. All right, so I took the top 2 tiers off. Wally's guarding them for us. Thanks, big guy. So just showing you guys what we're looking at here. Tier 2, which is currently unoccupied. Oops. They're down there. There's nobody in there, or there's not supposed to be anybody in there. Tier 1 has gone down quite a bit as they finish off the layer, but just opening it up and seeing what is here, you can tell that there's clearly food because there's still paper products we can visibly see. So I don't see as many worms as last time on first glance, so that's good. That makes me feel like they might have relocated a little bit. So I'm not gonna actively bait this layer. Well, I don't know. They're making good progress in here, and there are a lot of worms. You know what? I think we should need to start the baiting process, because the baiting process, not that it's super hard or anything, it does take a little bit of time. So, what do you think, Wally? Well, Wally thinks we're under attack. That's what he thinks. All right, so see, here's the tricky part. There's no food, like no human food really left in here, but there is clearly cardboard bedding, that type of stuff in here, and there's quite a bit of worms. So I think we need to do a little bit of baiting for these guys, right, Wally? Yeah, Wally says yeah, we definitely need to bait them. Thanks for your input, Wally. Yeah, you are a good boy helper. Yeah. Good boy. So this is my current Tupperware with some frozen avocado shells. I have been freezing most of the stuff beforehand, just because I don't want another gnat problem. So I just stacked them together. I had 2 avocados the other day and just froze them. So there's not really any food per se left in them, but I know they do enjoy having little parties in them. So for now, we're going to use this as our first set of baiting. So the next bin that we're looking at is tier 4, and they are 1 month old. This tier is 1 month old. They got started at the same time as us starting the starve on tier 1, and this is the tier that we're hoping they will migrate up into. So this is a very, I don't want to say loosely populated bin, but it's definitely not heavily populated. So last time we fed them, they got quite the feeding in the middle, and I don't know if you guys can see, we can see there's definitely a depression in the soil compost where they were. And according to my notes, they got 1 roll, like 1 toilet paper roll, frozen with loose berries and bananas as well in the middle. And I remember doing that in hopes of convincing some of the worms below to come back up. But I also remember being like, this is a lot of food. We need to cover it really well so that way it doesn't get any bad guys in it. So I'm seeing paper towels that I covered it with. Okay, here we go. Here is well, I don't see any of the berries or banana. So that must have been demolished. And I see the toilet paper roll, which is clearly still, oh, all right. It's a worm party still. Oh, good. Okay, I don't want you guys to all leave, so let me cover you back up. Sorry, exposed your fun party. So sorry, so sorry. All right, well then we'll leave them there. And then I would like to feed them again. There's not really any food. There's just that toilet paper roll. So this back corner looks pretty empty. I'll show you guys. So I like to try to spread out where I'm feeding them so they have to kind of work on the bedding as they go. But clearly that was plenty of food for them because it's it's gone. So I am going to give them a frozen toilet paper roll of, looks like some mushrooms in this one, maybe some berry toppers in there. And then, since I have it, I'll show you guys what I'm doing here in a second. If you can't see, the roll's gonna get covered in a banana peel. And then we're also gonna throw in some random frozen mushrooms and a frozen strawberry topper here. Boop. Alright. Good. I probably couldn't see all of that, so let me show you what we're working with here. Use this pre-used towel. So here's where we're at. So we'll put the roll in. I put the banana peel on top of it. Then I put the loose food around it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use this pre-used paper towel and cover it pretty well, because there is a lot of loose food in there. Throw that one on it. Then I'm gonna take my little spatula, whatever thing, and loosely cover it with the existing compost and bedding, just to cover it up a little bit. Voila. And then, just more for funsies, I got a bunch of old tea bags that were kind of moldy and kind of so I've just been, I opened this one. I'm literally just throwing it in the corner here because I'm curious to see what it is or what happens. The internet tells me they'll enjoy it, so we'll see. We pretty much covered that corner, so hopefully they'll migrate from here to here and burn through that food pretty quick. So that brings us to tier 3, which has been a good tier so far. Hasn't given us any problems. I just want to show you guys. I had that sitting on the floor and I picked up this little pile of compost, and there's a few little chunks, but if you're worried about doing this in your apartment, your rental, whatever, I don't think there's much to be worried about personally. We're renting and we don't really worry about the bugs or mess or anything. It's pretty self-containing here. So now this tier 3 got fed in the middle last time. My notes say I fed them a toilet paper roll with berries, and they got a tortilla, which I do remember feeding them one of my old pork tortillas. And then I had dumped the juices from the frozen roll on top of here last time. So let's open her up, see what oops, I heard a worm fall. So, all right, we got some worms having a party up top here. If you guys can see. So I'm gonna just try and quickly scooch them back into their bin, because I don't want them to fall off or go wandering while we're feeding. You know, I try to be as quick as we can, but I want to also show you guys what we're doing too, so you guys can learn and you can do this at home, and it's actually quite fun and relaxing. So we got all most of them in here. Oh, all right, Wiggler, there you go. Okay, good wiggling. All right, I'm gonna dig into the middle here with you guys, see what we see. This is technically, to my knowledge, the oldest and therefore most populated, most established of the tiers right now. So I'm expecting this to have mostly disappeared. I already Don't see the tortilla shell, so that's interesting if they did finish that. I find the toilet paper rolls in general, cardboard, that type of stuff, when I roll them up, technically the shell lasts a long time, but the food in them doesn't. I don't see any of that. I don't even see the toilet paper roll in here. Oh wait, hold on. Okay, this is what remains of the toilet paper roll. Clearly, I interrupted a party, so we're gonna cover that up. And I just want to check really quick, because my notes said the previous feeding, yep, over here where there's still an avocado pit party. Apparently they're having a party in the avocado pit. This is where I had fed them some butternut squash, but I don't see any of that left. But I know last time there was a little bit left. So let's take a look at this corner over here. All right, there's a lot of activity over here. Looks like remnants from an old feeding, so I don't really want to feed there. Let's see this corner happening. Evidently there's a lot of worms over here, so maybe this is just a busy worm bin, but this one does look less busy. And what I'm looking for here, guys, is I'm just looking for a spot that doesn't have a lot of worms in it, so I can put the colder frozen toilet paper roll. And I like this back corner a little bit more. This one looks a little bit more secluded for good feeding. All right, I think we found our spot. So this roll is also frozen that I'm going to be feeding them. And this one has, it's falling apart. This one is also mushrooms and frozen strawberry tops. We're just going to toss him in there. And I just have the one banana peel. So we're going to put the banana peel in here like this on the side. Oh, don't worry, I'll show you guys what we're doing. So let's get you over here. So, and I did it so the hole with the food in it is like right next to where their party is, right here. I'm also going to cover it up with the paper towel just to insulate some of the cold so it's not too extreme. If I accidentally push them on top of it. And it covers it and protects it from the buggies we don't want here. And then, just because I don't remember doing it in a while, I got some of my grits, also known as polenta, and I'm just sprinkling it in. I'll let it naturally recede down to the bottom. And then, just like my other tier that we just said, tier 4, I am going to take random old tea bag and just boop, put it right here and see what happens in this left corner. So we'll have both of them in the left corner and just see kind of what happens. So I threw the cover on just really quick while I was writing down the notes of what I fed, but I just wanted to show you guys. I went back and looked through my notes. So really quick, we're going to take a look in here. So this bin is still plenty of room to add to it. We saw a lot of worm activity in general. I went back and looked at my notes. That tier 3, was started mid-February. So if it's early May at this point, it means we're about 2.5-ish months, give or take a little bit. So we definitely still have a good, I would say, month or so to go before we start considering when we start starving it, when we want to limit feedings. But that tier is obviously thriving, full of worms and activities, and they're demolishing the food really quickly. So I want to keep that up, and I'm probably going to have more food for them next week just to really encourage them to keep going. Something I have considered doing is when we do get to the point of starving that tier, I'm considered taking about half of it, since it's still in progress. There's always, like, when you start starving it, there's still food in there, and then moving that to that tier, what is that, tier 2, that we're hoping to migrate some of these guys up into, just to split them up a little bit and help this one get jump started a little bit more. I don't know. Or maybe not tier 2, sorry, tier 1, where there's nothing in there right now. other than some shredded paper. So kind of playing with that idea just so we can kind of divide up the population and hopefully help them start reproducing quicker, because they are self-regulators in the sense that they won't put, they don't, they won't continue to reproduce, let's say, if they don't feel like they have the room or the resources or the, you know, just the straight up space to do it. So that's why I was thinking if I put half of them maybe in that tier that technically isn't started yet, it might help the migration start off faster, you know, so we might get through the migration quicker. It's possible. I don't know if that's how it works, but you never know. And so it might help the migration go quicker. Might slow it down for all I know, because there's less worms to finish it off. I don't know. But it might help us get more worms in the long run. So lots of things to consider. If you guys have tried either of those variations, let me know, because I haven't really done much in the ways of splitting the worms. I know a lot of people do them to help encourage reproduction. It's just not something I've done much of. So yeah, that's all we'll be considering next time, probably over the next couple of feedings. So we'll see, but that's where I'm at early stages, trying to think ahead. And as always, I'm going to cover this back up to help keep it insulated from the Florida sun. And I'm going to keep this blind closed moving forward. I only really open it during feedings so we have some good light and we can see what we're doing. This window is open and it gets some indirect light there, but it is Florida and we're already looking at mid-90s temperatures, so I don't want them to get too warm. I know they're cozy and everything, but you guys know how it is. Nobody wants to be too hot. So that's today's feeding. Thanks you guys for hanging out with me and keeping track of the worms with me. I've been enjoying sharing this with you guys. If you want to see other random updates from the garden, make sure you follow me on Instagram at Gardening with Alessandra. I post some of my harvests, some random updates of, you know, the butterflies and caterpillars that we've got, and just whatever's growing in the garden that day. I try to post at least every day or every other day, just because I love sharing that with you guys. And I hope you enjoy seeing what you can do as a renter, a container gardener, a Florida gardener. It's easier than you think. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.